Welcome to Elements of Style, a podcast about how style communicates meaning across culture, history, and daily life, and how those ideas shape real wardrobes. I'm your host, Imani, and I think a lot about how we live in our clothes, the language of style, and how personal wardrobes hold narrative power. I'm joined today by my dad, Dr. Sean Hubbard. He's a neurologist, entrepreneur, content creator, and philanthropist. But he's also always approached style as a creative practice meant to be shared. With deep curiosity, great stories, and a sharp eye for culture, this podcast grew out of our ongoing conversations. In this episode, we ask, what makes style feel aligned? We examine Schiaparelli's first menswear moment on Bad Bunny at the Grammys, the house's surrealist legacy, and why this collaboration aligns so seamlessly with Bad Bunny's artistic vision. Along the way, we reflect on dressing into new roles, new stages, from public image to personal aspiration. All right, let's get into the conversation. All right. How you been?
Good, good.
Good.
What's going on? Good, good. Looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, me too. Did you end up watching the Super Bowl?
I did. I did.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't miss it.
Okay.
I didn't watch much else in terms of professional football, but I was looking forward to the Super Bowl. Lived up to its hype.
Yeah, so I had wanted to talk about kind of the man of the hour, Bad Bunny, but from a fashion perspective, he's had like a major week. So I first wanted to talk about his looks at the Grammys, where he won Album of the Year, wearing a Schiaparelli suit. Did you see that?
I didn't, and I don't know if you'll recall, but maybe 4 weeks ago, or probably maybe 4 months ago, you gave me a background tutorial. So I'm probably representing a lot of people that weren't as familiar with Bad Bunny as
Okay.
you. You've been following him his whole career. So I'm going to learn a lot from this discussion again. But so what happened a week ago?
So about a week ago at the Grammys, Bad Bunny won Album of the Year for his album. He just has a lot of impact, and it's a great the album itself, which I want to talk about a little bit later, and sort of his style evolution and his creative vision, sort of more generally, because he's very consistent, but also has had a really beautiful journey of pride and representation and sort of great image making. And also he's just extremely bold. And his boldness is why I wanted to start off with his Grammys look. Not only because that was a great moment, but because he's wearing Schiaparelli, which boldness is they go hand in hand. So I wanted to also introduce you to Schiaparelli because that is one of my favorite brands of all time. And I had a bit of fun thinking about introducing you to some of these images. For Schiaparelli. So I wanted to give you. Are you familiar with Schiaparelli at all?
No, not beyond what you have given me a snippet previously.
Okay. Oh, cool. Okay, so Yeah, so the founder of Schiaparelli, her name's Elsa Schiaparelli, and she's founded the brand in 1927, and she sort of was like this aristocratic lady, with like a strange temperament, kind of, and a
Perfect.
really right, and so she's an Italian designer. She sort of worried her family, and she was into some really avant-garde ideas. She was very into surrealism. It actually ended up showing some of her first jewelry pieces as like art amongst like surreal artists. And this is like pre her doing her brand. So she ended up collaborating with Salvador Dali and different surrealist filmmakers to work in these collections. She developed very, very iconic hats and buttons, and she sort of takes she's just bold and avant-garde and has like a otherworldly kind of approach to styling and design. And so the boldness, the sort of fearlessness of her vision sort of is great for this moment. And I just wanted to introduce you to some of these pieces and like ideals really because she has done like a lot of it is this her surreal vision. A lot of it is abstracting the body or using like body parts as maybe a necklace with an eye or an ear on it, or like this is some iconic, if you see celebrities wearing some, these are sort of things you can see and think this is Schiaparelli. Like
Uh,
very obvious fastening and boning and sort of abstracting the body, making interesting shapes, and sort of taking tailoring on its head, having like hats that are hands and shoes, a shoe on the head, sort of, yeah, taking tailoring and sort of disconnecting it from the bounds of what you would normally do. And she just liked, even so, she also was iconic for her shocking pink, and so, which is just this vivid, vibrant, hot pink. And sort of her memoir was like called Shocking Life. Like she just has an avant-garde and eye-catching appeal. But yeah, so
so
this, I
perfect
just
for
feel
Bad Bunny then.
perfect, perfect for Bad Bunny.
Bold and unapologetic, and this is what we're doing.
Exactly.
Make it make sense
Yeah.
later if you have to,
Yeah. Very clear,
or
clear
don't.
imaging, right, or don't, just sort of what
Enjoy.
happens if, what if we can turn this upside down sort of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, so actually the brand had closed down in the 50s and was just reacquired like in 2007, and then they weren't doing anything with it, and sort of in 2014 they decided to revamp it, and then since in 2019 they got the creative director Daniel Roseberry, who has ever since, like, he has gotten the brand in his hands. He's like the first and youngest American to creative direct a haute couture European brand. It's really amazing how he's able to like carry on the whole essence of the brand and the boldness, and every single show he's done has had extremely viral moments. And even, yeah, every single show he's done, and you can see his vision combined with the brand is extremely, yeah, bold and striking, and I look for it at every time they have a show. I'm looking for it because there's bound to be like a jaw dropping moment.
Which aspect of Bad Bunny's outfit did she put together?
It's like a suit, so it's a structured suit, and it has a very so Daniel Roseberry designed, and it was styled by Storm Pablo, which Bad Bunny like uses the same stylist. But Daniel Roseberry designed the suit for Schiaparelli. It's a black velvet suit, but it has like a very defined waist and some tailoring details on the lapel, and like this really strong fastening on the back, like a corseted fastening on the back of
Wow.
the suit.
Hmm.
And yeah, the most eye-catching part though is the sort of strangely abstracted waist. It's sort of boxy, but also in the shoulder, and then also really, really dramatically tailors in at the waist. I mean, this is very subdued for a Schiaparelli moment, and it's their first menswear look pretty much ever to like appear. So yeah,
Excellent.
it feels true, but also, yeah, I love seeing it on Bad Bunny. Yeah, this is just another one of their amazing viral moments for the brand as well.
Well, thank you for telling us what we were looking at. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it was clearly very unique, and it's not a suit that I've had before. It's not a suit that I've seen before. That kind of cut, very eye-catching, and all the angles, and even some of the draping of it was just eye-catching and very nice. But I'm glad to have your description and the history behind the brand.
Yeah, I love Schiaparelli for this moment. Even though it's a black suit, Bad Bunny is somebody who, especially like for the Met and other things where there's going to be other men, he's someone I always look to as going to have an eye-catching look, a bold look, a staple of a look, and sort of, yeah, but this is just a great moment. So, but also, yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about his win as well, because, yeah, there was just a great night in music all around, but also, um, yeah, I feel very happy about his win. It was so beautiful to me.
Now, what part about it was it? Is it your fashion sense? Is it your connection to Latin America also? That, I mean, let's face it, there's a part of you that's kind of familiar with a lot of what he was bringing, a lot of how he was bringing, and you've been following him for a while. How does this impress you? How did it hit for you?
I think so. The album is called "Y Tira Más Fotos," and so that. is basically like we should have taken more pictures. We should have taken more photos. It started a trend of like on TikTok and such of people posting family pictures and sort of looking back at their childhood and appreciating the people around them. It was like a very emotional, nostalgic trend of people creating little slides to the, and you can hear in the background of the track, like it's like a chorus of people. We should have taken more pictures of the good times, the bad times of our homeland, of, sort of appreciating, the places and the people we come from past, taking them past a commodity, trying to make sure we can, yeah, appreciate where we come from and sort of, yeah, we
Lovely.
should have taken more photos. But it's a
Yeah.
beautiful statement, especially right now, to have like pride and also not just pride, but have this sort of collective imagery come together, this memory. The album like cover is he has two plastic chairs outside and they're just sitting in front of these palm trees. And it sort of gives like uncles are about to sit down, like just have a good time, maybe play some dominoes, maybe drink a beer, maybe tell some stories, maybe, get up and dance. But it has like this sort of real
Nostalgia.
nostalgic, yeah, quality to it. And I don't know, it's really great imaging, but also he has done so much to make sure this album feels like it's a family affair.
Sure. I mean, that's definitely something that any, I think, person that's been alive, who's had a family, who's not like, 7 years old, and who has memories and who has had experiences that they wish they had captured, they'd like to live them and keep them forever. I've thought that. I've had that thought before that I should have taken more pictures or saved those pictures or where are those photos? Where is that?
Yeah. Yeah, in the title track and then also in the production of some of the other songs, he has like incorporated a lot of salsa elements and also classic reggaeton stuff. And he also takes like the beginning of the album, starts off in New York, and he has just a New York, Puerto Rican vibe, and he's like, I'm gonna take you back to my country and show you like what's it all about, and the rest of the album lives there. And yeah, there's like a complete journey through it, and it's just a beautiful album. And also he is very direct, I feel like, in his image making, in his songwriting, in the production, and also when he gets up on stage, I mean, he has like done huge stuff in terms of records, and he doesn't miss a moment to say, this is what I'm about. And he directly addresses oppressive forces, machismo. He directly addresses stuff and says, this is what I'm about, and we're gonna do, I'm gonna champion my people, and also I'm not gonna bring through also the oppressive forces that sort of affect, you know, a global mindset. He sort of fashion wise always is sort of stepping out the box in terms of kind of gender fluid styling. And yeah, he does these hats, these like Puerto Rican hand woven straw hats. They're like,
Hmm.
and he does it so many times, it's
I've
like,
seen
I
that.
don't know, I love to see it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Pretty mature for
Yeah.
his age. I mean, because you're talking
Yeah, he
about somebody
just he
who's
just
30
turned
something,
30. Yeah, he
he's
just turned
30,
30.
but he's been
Mm-hmm.
doing this for a minute. So pretty mature.
Yeah,
I
but
appreciate the background and all that perspective and depth. And I think there's a lot of conversation right now about the surface, and about the moment, but there's a lot going on. There's a whole history and so much culture and art to be appreciated.
yeah, I think also this is just a beautiful time because I was introduced to him probably around 2016, so about 10 years ago. He's been in the industry and he started off making Latin trap music, which is like a completely different style and has really, even music production wise, really become untethered to genre and sort of, but still incorporates, yeah, a lot of his roots and a lot of, but yeah, I was introduced with him having a completely different style as well. He had like a shaved head and like did all these geometric patterns in his head and all these really bold suits and sort of, yeah, really bold styling and sort of like nails. Like he had his nails painted. He sometimes had claws. He had a lot
Wow.
of rings. Still to this day, he does like all of these things and incorporates little beads in his hair and sort of different. Yeah, he's very proudly um, Puerto Rican, but also with his image, he really does take on the sort of a boundlessness of fearlessness. And
Boundlessness.
through like him getting more experimental with his production and more popular outside of Latin America, it is creating a space for all these different fashion houses and stylists to really sort of refine his image but not take any of the boldness away, sort of keeping the dynamic quality of him and sort
Right.
of putting him in amazing pieces and sort of having these amazing first like Schiaparelli first menswear look. It should be Bad Bunny, I feel. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm loving it.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. It's nice when things come together for you. It happened before.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um yeah, there's a real progression. So it's been nice to see, and also I personally I would love to have um like a Dominican like a dembow artist have like I mean there's no other Bad Bunny, but I would love to see someone uh come through and take like production and fashion and like just turn them upside down and like bust out of the image and sort of bring it full circle. But yeah, I would
Right.
love to see that. But yeah, I love this moment for Bad Bunny and then of course he had the Super Bowl just yesterday. He was headlined the Super Bowl and yeah, just more strong imagery.
Yes.
Just his more strong imagery. One of my favorite moments was he had on a set like a family, a little Hispanic family, and he got in like a vintage TV.
I saw
Um
that.
yeah, and he handed one of his Grammys to the little boy. It was so
Mm.
sweet and
Mm. Very touching.
just yeah, like just seeing all the sugar cane and the wheat fields and people dancing and the literal words like the only thing stronger than hate is love, like just
Right.
big on the screen, like
Nice and
we're
bold.
doing it. Yeah,
Right.
like we're it's clear, you know. I loved it. But
I loved it too. I thought it was fire. Just so much imagery, so much culture, and so much authenticity being shown there. If I hadn't experienced it myself before in places and homes, throughout my life in various areas. I mean, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and I had several friends and family that were from Puerto Rico. And, we get this. I probably grew up not aware of how the difference is because my friends were here, but I think that Bad Bunny was speaking to me, actually. I mean, that's the way it felt because I have a lot of contacts. But when I went to Puerto Rico, I was like, what in the world have I been missing? It was so close and it's in America. I just felt like I was probably, well, actually, Joanna, my nurse practitioner who taught me how to do neurological examination, like a history in Spanish, she saw that I'd gone to Puerto Rico. She said, "What took you so long?" And because
right.
her family's from there, and I said, "Ignorance." I mean, like there was just nothing else to say. I mean, when you know. So yeah, no, it was really great. I really appreciated it for it felt like a part of me actually in a strange way, being able to relive parts of my life.
Yeah. I think I had seen an interview he did and it's for I think Apple Music, but he had a really extremely popular album, two albums before this one. Yeah, his album it broke like a lot of records. It was
Wow.
crazy. It broke so many records and it was very experimental production wise. And I think he was sort of saying that he thought he made his best work and something about that had freed him up to sort of recontextualize everything and he said after that he got to travel a lot and to talk to people from very different places and through his work sort of recontextualize his country and his love for his country like sometimes you know, you have to leave to discover your love and view your stuff in a different way. And so
No
I
doubt.
think with this, yeah, this one he really was able to really compact all of that experience and sort of make this great work,
Bring it
which
home.
yeah, which is, I mean, it's extremely strong. But yeah, I don't know, this is just exciting. But this is probably not the last time we'll be talking about Bad Bunny on here, so yeah.
It can't be. It can't be because for the next conversations, I will be a lot more abreast. Um, one of your brothers here from San Francisco and was telling that you walk into a club and he's very familiar because they're playing Bad Bunny all the time.
Alright.
But, I think the 50s and 60s gang, myself and my cohorts, just probably not aware. So
Yeah.
next time I'll be ready.
Yeah.
I'll be more ready.
Yeah. I did have a sort of personal fashion story I wanted to talk about as well.
Let's hear it.
Um, yeah, I went on Saturday. I went to a winter ball. Yeah, like a winter
Okay.
ball. Deciding what to do when you're wearing formal clothes is sometimes, you can really make yourself uncomfortable if you don't pay attention. But I wanted to sort of feel like myself and translate some of my own staples of my style, my favorite silhouettes and my favorite textures, and sort of make them formal. So I sort of messed around with a few pieces and I borrowed two dresses from my mom. Yeah, because I mean, ball, gala sort of thing, that immediately gives
The
one formal,
attire.
but also like floor length. So in terms of the dress, I had two options. One was it was like a velvet kind of off the shoulder, and then the second one was like a fully glittery burgundy one, and it has matching long sleeve thing to it. But to make it feel like me, I ended up wearing the one that's like sort of burgundy colored and full of fully glitter, but it's a very simple silhouette and dress, and I love the color on me, but I wanted
Mhm.
to sort of style it in a way that would feel like me. And I sort of pulled out all the stops in terms of texture and different, especially with the winter part of it all. I was like, that's my a great opportunity to do something really lush.
Nice.
um so in terms of, yeah, the silhouette is a completely like straight sort of dress, but I bunched the back of it so that I could have like more shape. And then I had two different options. I had like one, I have like a vintage ostrich feather sort of boa thing, and it
Uh-huh.
added a lot of drama. And like also a fur bolero, which is sort of like just sleeves,
Wow.
black fur sort of sleeves with it to sort of add
Nice.
real dramatic like top heaviness and sort of
Excellent.
texture. And I had a beaded bag. Oh, actually I have it right here.
The little drama, huh?
But yeah, I have this vintage purse.
Uh-huh.
It's got like a peacock beading, and
Wow.
sort of the bottom accents sort of bring together the colors of the dress, which end up being like iridescent jewel tones, which is sort of my bread and butter.
Very
Um
pretty.
yeah, but yeah, so I ended up really enjoying it, and sort of looking like a dramatic bird, which is actually my favorite way to look. sort of bird like. But yeah, I had so much fun with that. But the just the experiment of trying to feel like me with a dress code, formal dress code, and not sort of refining myself too much. I wanted to keep the texture, keep the flow, keep it feeling like me. But yeah, that was so
Nice.
fun. Yeah.
Oh, that is fun. Yeah, you'll share some of those. We'll get a chance to see some, of course.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of my own little fashion journey, I did find myself making some adjustments, and a lot of it, I think during our last show, we talked about it, and I was really tossing around my identity a little bit.
Hmm.
Am I just a practicing physician in the hospital? Am I a physician and leader? And I made a decision over the past couple of weeks that, and I even updated my LinkedIn, that I'm going to call myself the father of emotional intelligence in medicine.
Okay.
I have made it official.
Okay.
It's on LinkedIn. And so immediately I have to make some adjustments, and how I'm showing up because it's a bold title. And who is that coming through and saying this and why? What gives um, what gives him the license? And so I have to show up answering all those questions, really.
Hmm.
So I'm going to be a little extra and memorable, you know. I must say that I had a couple of exchanges recently. I bumped into a lady even like a couple of hours ago at the local shop mart. And so this is a lady in front of me. She paid for her groceries and then she already had her stuff in the bag and the cart. And so she's just waiting. And I was just getting something small. After I paid, she was still standing there. Usually the people in front of you, they walk off. So anyway, she was standing there. She had some shades on. I was kind of wondering. She says, "Oh, are you Dr. Hubbard? I think you were my doctor." And then
Oh,
I said, "Yeah, yeah, I could have been." And so anyway, she just went on. She was like, "You made such a difference in my life. I'm just so happy to see you." I mean, she just went on and on and on about how I listened to her and how she hadn't felt heard and this. And so, you know, I'm like, okay, I have a license to use that title because I've gotten that several times recently. So
right.
that's
Yeah,
going
I've
to be
seen that.
showing up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to show up. Oh, that's a different one actually. Yeah, yeah, that's going to show up. Um, there's
Yeah.
more to come on that. My looks, they have to represent that.
Yeah. That's sort of creating like a vision for that title. I mean,
Mhm.
I think that's the fun part, sort of crafting that
Fun part.
identity, for yourself, and yeah, that's the role. That's my favorite part of the process, really.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds fun.
and I was thinking that it would be a good rhetorical question for your viewers and our viewers. Who is it that you want to become? What do you
Hmm.
want for your future? What are your titles? What levels are you aspiring to?
Right.
There's a big part of identity, of course, like you. It's like be and do and have. It's like it's sort of like who are we first, and then how do we show up? So a lot of it's
Right.
identity.
Yeah, that's the work of it. Yeah, I love that part. It's like the creative process of, yeah, narrative parts of style, and sort of looking at yourself and thinking, yeah, am I pointing towards it? Are people around me going to be able to see where I'm pointing through what I got going on? But
Um,
yeah, that's a fun part for sure.
to be continued.
Yeah.
Always, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
never done.
yeah, literally. But yeah. Okay, brilliant. All right.
Well,
Well,
fabulous.
yeah,
Always
this has
good.
been fun. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Always good. Thank you for having me, and I always learn a lot from your perspective and your depth of knowledge and all that you have put into this, everything you've studied, and just I really appreciate your sharing and bringing me up to date and keeping me more relevant and abreast and less ignorant.
Yeah, I do love the idea of when I was sort of looking at everything of, you know, thinking you would think some of this is cool and being excited to share it with you. And I'm glad that, on your own, Bad Bunny had caught your eye, sort of like, who is that? And I was like, perfect. I'm excited to do
Right
it
on
with you.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, thank you
Excellent.
for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Look forward.
Alrighty.
Take
Night
care,
night.
baby. Love you. Bye bye now.
Love you too. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning into Elements of Style. This is really a labor of love, and I'm learning so much already. Feel free to share your thoughts or your own style experiments in the comments. And yeah, thank you so much.